foe is more devious than we imagined. That spire was indeed a teleporter linked to a cloaked Covenant supercarrier, a grave threat. Thankfully, help is imminent. 60% of the UNSC fleet is en route to Reach from existing deployments. The first battle group should arrive within 48 hours.
48 hours? That's imminent? Uh-oh. Who's your money on this time?
Her.
You always pick her.
She's always had him dialed in.
That thing's crushing us and we're waiting for backup. They'll be backing up a graveyard.
All our nukes are either out system or went down with the ships that carried them. You're preaching to the converted.
How converted?
I know that look, Cat.
You can say no.
No.
You don't even want to hear it?
Fine, I'll hear it.
Remember that accident a couple years back? Colony ship en route to Cygnus, 700 dead.
Vaguely a slip space drive malfunction, right?
Actually, it worked fine. The drive was mounted improperly after a service haul-out. When it fired, it teleported half the ship to oblivion.
This is relevant. How?
A certain Covenant supercarrier could, with some assistance, suffer the same unfortunate accident.
Even for you, Cat, that's
Inspired?
not the word I would use.
What's going on?
Go ahead. Explain.
May I?
Don't cut yourself.
Objective: destroy Covenant carrier in geosynchronous orbit above us.
This sanctioned, sir.
What do you think?
Oh.
Method: a slip space drive in lieu of the nukes we don't have. Delivery system: us. Solvable? Getting us up there. That and getting our hands on a slip space drive. Thank you for sharing.
So, all we need is orbit-capable transport and the single most expensive piece of equipment made by man.
As a soldier in the field, I couldn't possibly have access to those kinds of resources. That said, a good place to look might be, I don't know, the nearest non-existent launch site in the non-existent Saber program dismissed by 3 administrations as preposterous rumor, and in which our newest member was certainly never a pilot.
You're scary. You know that.
All we need is a green light from Holland.
Good luck with that.
You're the one asking him.
Well, there's no way in hell he's gonna go for this.
Bit of a hike to the launch facility.
Any closer is too hot to land.
Could be that, Commander.
Move up the beach, Noble.
Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to the Halo Reach Legendary walkthrough. We are moving on to Mission 6. I believe this is called Long Night of Solace. And this level's very interesting because this is where things go from hopeful to dreadful within the storyline. So you're going to start off storming this beach, and what we're trying to do, so Kat has come up with this crazy plan. So we saw at the end of the last level, we went through so much work taking out the Covenant Spire. We had one of our warships shoot these things called Mac rounds on it inside atmosphere, and we destroyed the Spire, and for maybe all of 2 seconds, humans celebrated. And then out of nowhere came a Covenant supercarrier, a massive Covenant ship, which just destroyed our ship in the blink of an eye. So, you know, the humans went through all this trouble only to find that the Covenant have a supercarrier here, as well as just an invading Covenant fleet. And that's why, you know, we went from kind of being optimistic to, holy crap, this is a full-on invasion that we may not survive. And this chapter is really going to emphasize that fact. So especially, I'm going to tell you now, at the end of the level, there's going to be a cutscene which is very important. And so I definitely urge you to stick with it and watch the entire thing. But yeah, so what we're trying to do now, Kat came up with this plan to destroy the supercarrier. She said, all right, look, we don't have the ships, we don't have the firepower to destroy that thing. So what if we almost cause an accident? So what does she mean by that? what her plan is to get a slip space drive onto the Covenant supercarrier, have it explode, and that will essentially rip the ship apart from the inside out. It's something that happened accidentally to a human ship before, and so Kat said, hey, what if we just make it not an accident? And so how are we going to get the, how are we actually going to get the slip space drive onto the Covenant supercarrier? Well, the plan itself is ingenious. It's very good writing on the part of the developers of this game. Basically, what we're trying to do is we are storming this Oni facility where they have these ships that our character used to actually pilot, and they're called longswords. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go up into space. We're going to disattach the slip space drive from an actual UNSC ship. Then we're going to get that slip space drive onto a Covenant carrier. The carrier will dock on the supercarrier, and when it does so, we'll destroy it. So it's a brilliant plan, and the level is a lot of fun. The level can actually be kind of difficult. This is a good example of more of the innovations that Halo Reach brought forward. This is the first Halo game where they introduced space fights, meaning you're actually going to be in a ship, piloting it in space, destroying Covenant vehicles. So it's pretty interesting, and it can be fun. It's a little frustrating at times, and I think it's one of those things that I'm just a little biased. Like, I typically don't like space battles. I've never cared for them. I know Call of Duty started doing them in the previous games. So for me, I'm just not a huge fan, but they did do a good job, and overall it's at least a somewhat fun experience. But anyway, we are going to storm inside of here. You'll notice how I'm all stocked up on DMR ammo. We're not really going to need it. I think there is going to be one elite in here as we make our way to the flight control room, but I can't even remember if that's true or not. This level is kind of long, though. This level is going to be about 50 minutes long, I think. There are a couple of cutscenes. So yeah, here's the elite I was talking about, which again is why I had the plasma pistol in my inventory. Go ahead and do the trick on him. Easy come, easy go. I went the wrong way here, but we are going to go into the next room, and this level is a lot of fun too, because notice how throughout this walkthrough we've been working with different members of Noble Team. In this level we're going to be working with George, Noble 4, or Noble 5 I think. I always mix up him and Emil. They're 4 and 5, I always mix up what numbers they are, but I like calling them by their names anyway. So we're going to be working with George, the big guy. Alright, so go ahead and go through these doors here. You can see the first part of the level was actually really simple, just a nice beach fight, and then there is the longsword, which we are going to pilot up into space. So go ahead and enter the area, climb up the stairs, and we're going to come across a short cutscene which just shows kind of our character piloting the ship. So here you go.
Struts disengaged. Commencing launch. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2.
First stage engine burn nominal. Stage separation in 3, 2, 1. Stage separation. Second stage ignition confirmed.
Alright guys, so here we go. This is the space combat section. So we are in the longsword, and you can see that we are above Planet Reach, and in space with us. There is the space station, there's a couple UNSC cruisers, and so what we have to do, so what we are trying to do here is we're trying to disattach the slip space drive from a UNSC ship, and then we're going to use that to destroy the Covenant supercarrier. So what you're going to want to do right off the bat is just kind of get used to the controls. Inside of your ship, you can spin to the left, spin to the right, you can do a quick 180-degree turn, and then you have two types of weapons, which you alternate using the Y button. You have the typical, I guess, like shells, and then you have the missiles. And so the weapon that you use is going to depend on what type of enemy you're facing. Now, real quick also, in the bottom right, kind of center of the screen, you're going to see the thruster bar. So if you hold down the left trigger, you can speed up using the thrusters, and then you can see your shields and hull integrity on the upper right side. Alright, so you're going to get this objective indicator. And for the first wave of enemies, we're just going to have to fight a couple of Banshees. These are the easiest enemies to kill. All it takes is the typical machine gun on the ship. I don't want to say machine gun, but you know what I mean. It's this weapon right here, the kind of standard shooting weapon. And when you are on the trail of a Banshee, you'll see this little circle in front of them, and that's where you're going to want to aim. So you usually don't want to aim right at the Banshee. You're going to aim at the circle in front of them, because it's kind of like a predictive shooting thing. And then there you go. The Banshees will blow up very quickly. The Banshees are only dangerous in large numbers. That's the only time they're going to serve an actual threat. But for times like this, where it's nothing but Banshees, there's really not much to worry about. Now, on Legendary difficulty, your shields will go down fast. So if an enemy does lock onto you, you're going to want to just speed up and do as many twists and turns as you can. And you can see that there are a lot of things you can actually take cover behind. You can take cover behind the space station. You can take cover behind the UNSC cruisers. So make use of those things, because your shields will go down very fast. Alright, and so once you get down to about 3 or 4 enemies left, you'll get these little target indicators telling you where they are, and that will allow you to move on to the next section, where we're going to have to fight a couple other enemies. We're going to have to fight some Banshees, and we're going to also have to fight some ships called Seraphs. And so the Seraphs are going to require a little bit of a different strategy. So you saw a cut in the video right there. Alright, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to fight the Seraphs. So what you do is you use your gun to lower their shields, and then you switch to your missiles, lock on, shoot, and they'll go down in one missile strike. So again, you're going to use your gun to lower their shields. You'll see their shields flicker off once they're down. So right here. Now I'm going to switch to the missiles, lock on, take them out. Now there's going to be 4 Seraphs initially in this area. Now again, on Legendary difficulty, your shields will go very fast. So if a Seraph does lock onto you, you have to just speed up. You have to do as many twists and turns as you can. Try to take cover behind one of these objects and just get away from the Seraph, because your shields are just going to drop. But there you go. So that was the 4th and final Seraph. You're going to get another checkpoint, and now you're going to see a small cut in the video, because here comes the 3rd wave. Now this wave is going to consist of Seraphs and Banshees. And as far as strategy goes, I can't really say there is any foolproof strategy. Like some people might say go after the Seraphs before the Banshees, others might say do the Banshees before the Seraphs. I say just shoot whatever the hell is in front of you. So right now there's a Seraph in front of me. I'm going to focus on that. You'll notice I got locked onto, my shield started dropping, so I'm going to just start flipping, turning as fast as I can. I'm going to speed away, and I'm going to try to hide behind something, but all of a sudden my shields will go back up. So that is one benefit. The shields, even though they drop fast, they do go up fast as well. So, and the hull integrity also will go up as well. So even if your hull takes some damage, if you just stay out of damage for a little bit, your hull integrity will go back up as well. But anyway, like I said, as far as strategy goes, so you'll see right here I almost got killed, so I'm going to speed away, and I'm actually going to hide behind the space station here, and hopefully the space station will provide me enough cover, and for long enough for my shields to go back up, and you'll see that's exactly what happened. So if you get locked onto, it's not the end of the world, it's just going to be a little more difficult. But yeah, like I said, as far as shooting strategy, I don't focus on the Banshees, I don't focus on the Seraphs, I just shoot whatever comes in front of me. And that's my strategy, just if you see it, shoot it. Now remember, the Seraphs, you're going to have to use your gun first, lower the shields, and then use the missiles. The Banshees, they'll go down really quickly just from using your guns. Now, I guess if I did have to choose, I would say go after the Banshees first, only because the Banshees are much easier to kill, so you can kind of like level the playing field. You can get rid of all the Banshees and then focus on the Seraphs. It's almost like swatting all the flies away before you focus on killing the spiders or something. I don't know, I'm trying to think of some real-world analogy, but the point is, I really don't think you need to strategize in this part. I think you just need to fly around, shoot whatever you see, and after a while you'll start to thin the herd. And again, if your shields start to drop, then just take cover behind the nearest object and speed away as fast as you can. Alright, so here we go. Now the fourth and final wave is going to approach, and these are going to be the Phantoms. These guys are powerhouses, so what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to get far away from a Phantom, and then start approaching it from far away, and then just shoot it with everything you have. You can use your guns, you can use your missiles, but just unload on these guys. So you see, still there's gonna be some Seraphs in the area, but now I'm gonna focus on the Phantoms, because as soon as you destroy the Phantoms, your life will become a lot easier. Now, I don't know what happened here. This Seraph just started glitching all over the place. If there were space police, I'm sure this guy would get arrested for a DUI, but that's just not the case. Alright, so now we can focus on the Phantoms. So I'm gonna start approaching one, and you'll see that I am just gonna start unloading my missiles on this guy. And you see it didn't take that much for them to go down. So they're really not that hard to kill. It's just that you want to start firing on them from far away, because if you wait until you get too close, they're going to just tear you to shreds. So again, here comes the next Phantom. I'm just going to unload on this guy. One thing I like to do is I like to shoot one round of missiles and then roll out of the way, shoot another round of missiles, roll out of the way, and that kind of allows you to not only shoot your missiles, but also dodge his blasts. And so you'll see right here, I'm just not coming in from far away enough, so I'm not having enough time to shoot him 3 times before I get close to him. So now hopefully on this final pass I'll be able to knock him out, and there you go. Alright, next Phantom, shoot my missiles, roll out of the way, shoot some missiles, roll out of the way. Only took 2 rounds right there. One more Phantom to go, shoot my missiles, roll out of the way, shoot my missiles. Very simple, just repeat that. Should take 2 or 3 rounds of missiles to take out the Phantom. Looks like there's one more that I forgot about. So again, I'm just going to employ the same strategy. Not really worrying about the Seraphs or the Banshees in this area, because I just want to get those Phantoms out of the way to earn myself a checkpoint. Now from here you might have to do a little bit of mopping up, but by this point the space station's defenses should be online, and so you can dock, and that will trigger a short little cutscene in which we get the slip space drive into position. So after everyone is killed, you'll get your objective to approach this center docking station right here. So just approach, and then that will trigger a short cutscene.
I'm out here, 6.
Warning. M-Spec re-entry pack disengaged.
I need your override.
Warning. M-Spec re-entry. Cockpit depressurization complete. Canopy release lever armed.
Max Sabadok Siba.
Noble 5, please repeat.
Pull up surface grid 19 by 22.
Gladly. Only sword base, sector 18G.
Thermal enhance.
Noble 5, your pulse is elevated. There is nothing you can do for Dr. Woolsey and the others inside sword base. The mathematics are determinate. Noble 5?
I know.
Bravo, United and cleared to re-engage thrusters. Noble 6, this is Holland.
Go ahead, Colonel.
We've flagged a Corvette-class vessel on a predicted docking track with our target. Get our makeshift bomb on that Corvette, and we have our delivery system. Noble 5 will escort the bomb. I need your Saber team to clear the way for boarding.
Understood, Colonel.
As she's already donated her slip space drive to the cause, the Savannah will be joining you to provide local fire support.
UNSC Savannah. Our wings may be clipped, but we've got your back.
I've stuck my neck out for Noble on this one, Lieutenant.
We'll get it done, Colonel. 6 out.
Target corvette sighted within visual range of nav beacon RA-15.
We have visual. Target confirmed.
Alright, so if you thought we were done with the space fights, not quite yet. We have to board the regular Covenant carrier. So before we can do that, we have to damage its engines so that it doesn't flee. So the engines are going to be in the back of the ship right here. The missiles work very well, the machine guns work very well, and so you can see that right now on my first approach, I'm just unloading on them, and right away I already destroyed one of the 4 engines. So you're going to see in a second you get an objective that you have to destroy all 4. So you see I'm going to start shooting on the second one. I destroyed it right at the last second. I took a little bit of fallback damage right there. But there you go. Before we were even given our objective, we were able to take out 2 of the 4 engines. So you see right there, engines damaged 2 of 4. Now I'm going to go on my next approach. Unfortunately, on this approach, I don't think I really did anything worthwhile. I was shooting at the wrong part of the ship. So I'm just going to circle back and rinse and repeat. Now, you are going to have a couple ships shooting at you. I would say that if they're giving you trouble, then sure, you could take them out, but otherwise just focus on the engines, because as soon as you destroy these engines, you're pretty much golden. So you see right there, it only takes 1 missile strike to take out those final 2. You'll get yourself a checkpoint. And now it's just a matter of cleaning up the stragglers.
Energy flares detected in the corvette's aft launch
So
base.
here we go. Let's go ahead and set about doing that. But you see that destroying the 4 engines really isn't actually that tough. It's just the little guys that are flying around that might cause you some problems. And you'll see right there I took kind of a big hit, but I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to speed away, start doing some twists and turns, maybe take cover over here behind my ship, and then make another pass. Yeah, so as far as the space fights go, I'm not really a big fan of these. I appreciate the attempt. I definitely applaud Bungie for trying something new. I'm not going to hold it against them, because at the end of the day, these space fights, they are entertaining. So you'll see right there I got a checkpoint, and then you'll see a cut in the video because I ended up getting killed. But now I'm just going to go about, once again, picking off all the stragglers. So yeah, as far as the space fights go, you know, I'm not, you know, I typically appreciate games trying new things, and even if I don't particularly like those new features, I still appreciate the effort. It shows that they care, you know, it shows that they're trying to improve upon what they've already done. So at the end of the day, I applaud Bungie for trying this. It's certainly not bad in any way. The space fights don't take away from the game at all. It's just that for me personally, I don't find these very enjoyable. But, you know, nevertheless, it's just something you kind of got to get through while playing the campaign, and it is a nice change of things. I'll give it that. It does change things a little bit. It keeps the game fresh. But anyway, there we go. All of the little guys are now taken care of, so we are going to board the Covenant carrier. And remember, our plan here, now that we have the slip space drive, our plan is to get the slip space drive onto this Corvette, and then the Corvette will dock onto the Covenant supercarrier. We will activate a malfunction in the slip space drive, and that will essentially tear the ship apart from the inside out. Alright, so you see here, you're going to dock on top of the Covenant class Corvette, and you'll see that on the ceiling right there, that's our entrance inside. And this part actually is, in my opinion, the hardest part of the level, because once you drop down into the ship, there's going to be about like 6 to 8 elites down there. But so right off the bat, 2 of them are actually going to attack you up here. So you're going to see one of them jumps up, and unfortunately I missed my shot, so I'm going to go chase him. And here's what you're going to want to do. As soon as you drop down, run for this location right here, pick up a plasma pistol, and hide behind this purple box. And this is where we're going to stand for the remainder of the fight. So trust me, I tried numerous different approaches to this section, and I just kept getting killed, because as soon as you drop down, you just start getting shot at. But I found that if you drop down to this location, this is one of the few areas in the section where enemies cannot sneak up behind you. So at least, you know, in one sense right here, we are cornered. We don't have anywhere to run if an elite charges us. But on the other hand, we have no way of getting flanked, and we do have this purple thing for cover. If this purple thing wasn't here, this section, this spot wouldn't work. But thankfully for us, it is here. So I'm just going to stand behind here, wait for an elite to make itself visible, and then go to town. I have the DMR in my inventory. Now, luckily for us, these are the Jetpack Elites, so like I said in previous videos, these guys have the weakest shields of all of the Covenant. And I was actually trying to think, like, just scientifically about why that would be, and the only thing I could think is that, you know, so these elites not only have jetpacks, but they also have active camouflage, and so I was thinking that, you know, say that their shields had some sort of power limit. You know, there's some limit to the amount of power that these shields draw. I was thinking that given the fact that these guys have active camouflage and jetpacks, that probably takes away. So I'm thinking like their suit probably provides some amount of power, but it's limited. And so I was thinking that if they're going to divert some of that power to shields and camo and jetpack, then obviously some of that power is going to have to be rerouted from the shields, making their shields weaker. Not that it's necessarily important for us, we just care about the fact that the shields are weaker. But I don't know, it was just something I thought about as I was playing. I was thinking about why these guys would have weaker shields. I also thought that it might just be, you know, the Covenant have different shield strengths, and they give those shields, they distribute those shield strengths based on your level within the system. So like that's why the Elite Zealots have the strongest shields, and maybe these Jetpack Elites are the lowest rank of elites, so they have the weakest shields. But then I thought, well, why would the Covenant even bother making weaker shields if they could just make nothing but strong shields? So, I don't know. Just some thoughts that go on in the old noggin. But anyway, after you defeat all of the elites in the section, this door is going to open up and a couple more enemies are going to come through. And that's going to be our exit point. So go ahead and just pick off any remaining grunts in the area. You're going to see that a grunt is actually going to flee. He's just running away because we just slaughtered all of his buddies. An interesting fact about the grunt, for those of you who care, they naturally breathe methane. And so if you actually get up close to a grunt, you'll see these tanks on their backs and these masks on their face. Those are their methane supplies. And sometimes in this walkthrough, you'll see that if you shoot Grunt's tank, it'll blow up and you'll see this green gas kind of leaking from it, and that is in fact the methane that they're breathing. Alright, so in this room here, you're going to see that some of the enemies are glowing purple. I can't remember if this is something we've seen yet so far, but that is because there is an engineer in the area. So the engineers are these aliens that they aim to fix things. That is what they do. They are perfect at fixing things. Now, the engineers themselves, it's kind of sad to say, the engineers are not hostile. The engineers will never attack you. What they do is they amplify the shield strength of the Covenant in the area. So unfortunately, I'm going to right there, so the engineer was floating in the sky. I am going to kill the engineer. I don't like to because the engineers aren't hostile, but the engineers do help the Covenant, and so it becomes kind of crucial to kill them. In fact, the book I'm reading right now, Contact Harvest, it really paints the engineers in a friendly picture, and so it makes it even more sad to have to kill them, but that's just something you have to get over. Anyway, I'm going to kind of take cover on this side of the map, and I'm going to take out as many grunts as I can. This part can be kind of tricky. We have to clear this room so that George can come in with the slip space drive. But there are quite a few enemies here, and you'll see that they don't have any problem rushing you. So you know, it's a tough spot to be in, but this is what I found to be the best area to take cover. There are a couple snipers on the other side of this map, and so you're about to see a cut in the video because I earned myself a checkpoint. So what I'm going to do, so you see right there, the snipers actually were able to get me. And so I just wanted to leave that in there to show you just how deadly they can be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprint over here to this side of the map. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the enemies come to me. So I'm going to run all the way back into this hallway, and you'll see that the elites are going to start charging me. So I'm just going to shoot them from far away. Notice how the weapon I'm using is the needle rifle. This is an extremely powerful weapon. Very, very efficient. So definitely pick one of these up when you were in the previous room. And then it's very useful for killing the elites while we're back in this hallway. And again, you'll see that the elites are very aggressive here. The elites are coming to me. I don't have to come to them. And the benefit of that is that the snipers, we don't have to worry about them, at least for the time being. Alright. So just be patient. Make sure that you are, in fact, clear before you move up to the front of the hallway. Little grunt. Alright, and so now we see that we only have 3 enemies left. 2 of those enemies are going to be snipers. And they're pretty hard to kill. Their weapons are very powerful. The fact that they stick together makes it even harder, because if you start shooting one, then the other one's just going to start tearing you to shreds. That guy had a fuel rod cannon, so luckily he wasn't able to fire it off on time. But so you can see the 2 elites off in the distance, and you're going to see just how hard it is for me to actually kill these guys. So I'm going to start firing on one, and as soon as I start firing on him, he runs away, and his buddy now takes his place. And so it just makes it really difficult to kill one of these guys. But in some sense, it's almost like the hunters. There's 2 of them, they stick together, but as soon as you kill one of them, your life becomes a lot easier. Alright, so I think the best strategy here is just to try to pick one and focus your efforts on killing that one. But sometimes that's just not how it works. Sometimes he'll run away, and he won't come back until his shields are recharged. And so this part, in my opinion, this was actually one of the more annoying parts for me in the game. This took kind of a while. And you can see that every time, whenever you're scoped, if you get hit, then you automatically get unscoped. And so it just becomes this huge hassle of, it becomes hard to just aim down your sights, because as soon as they make contact with you, you exit out of your scope. So it's pretty annoying. But here we go. I'm finally going to kill one of them. And now, like I said, our life becomes easier, because now we can just focus on only one instead of 2. Still, though, I'm trying to be careful, because these guys did kill me, I think, 2 or 3 times. So I am trying to not get killed again, obviously. And unfortunately, you'll see here, I ran out of ammo. So just in case you missed it, I'll show you where I got this gun. It's right here at the top of this ramp, inside of this purple container. That's where I picked it up, and that's where I'm going to resupply.
6, go for those shield controls. I need in.
And so, yeah, George is going to radio in eventually, telling you to get those controls open. Obviously, that's what I'm trying to do, but this freaking sniper is just not letting up. This guy is a pain in the ass. I mean, just the fact that it's taken me 3 minutes to kill both of these guys, that right there is just absurd. To kill 2 enemies, it should not take that long, but that's just what happens when you're fighting against these snipers. Now, finally, I'm getting ready to go in for my killing move, but I still have to be careful. And I think right here is where I finally get him. Nope, not quite yet. He's still fighting. He's fighting to the very end. There we go. Took him out. That was a pain. You could pick up their weapons if you want, but I actually don't like their sniper rifles. They're not very good to use by yourself. It's one of those weapons that the enemy can use very well, but when you try to use it,
Powder keg is aboard, Colonel.
Copy that. 6, get your fire team to the bridge. The Corvette's refueling run with the supercarrier will have to be initiated manually.
Yes, sir.
5, stay with the bomb. Discourage the curious.
My pleasure. Hear that, Lieutenant? I'll be all by my lonesome back here. Make it quick, would ya?
Alright guys, so remember at the start of the video when I said that this level is interesting because this is where things really go from bad to worse? You're going to see what I mean by that at the end of the level in the final cutscene. Now the good news is, with the humans now showing up, you're going to get a bunch of supplies. So they bring health packs, they bring a ton of different weapons, so take your choice. They're all lying next to the Pelican that just docked inside of here. But anyway, now what we have to do is we have to venture a little further into the ship to activate some controls, and that will allow us to finish our objective. So inside of here where these enemies are coming from, there is an elite you're going to have to worry about. So I'm going to do the good old handy dandy plasma pistol trick. There's a second elite in the area, but you see that he ran behind those doors, but then nope, he actually decided to change his mind and run back. So what I'm going to do instead of using the plasma pistol is I'm just going to try to get the Marines to help out, lower his shields a bit, and then shouldn't be too much longer now. There go his shields, and there he goes as well. Now before I move deeper into the ship, this is where all those supplies were, so it pays to just kind of backtrack and get full ammo before you move on. And now we're good to keep on going inside of the ship. Now there's going to be just a couple rooms here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to fight through a lot of elites, so having a plasma pistol right now is crucial. If you run out of the plasma pistol, which I think I actually do, it's not the end of the world, but things are just going to be a bit harder. So anyway, you're going to come to this room here. There's going to be 2 elites at the controls. I'm going to take one of them out right away. Now the second one's going to start firing at me. I'm going to try to take him out as well, but I ended up missing. And you're going to see that I ended up running out of plasma pistol ammo right here. So I ducked back into the hallway. Really weird, the game decided to give me a checkpoint right here. So like I said, sometimes Halo just gives you really random checkpoints. I couldn't backtrack to get ammo, so I'm going to get a checkpoint right here. And you're going to see a cut in the video. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a sticky grenade. So the elite's going to be taking cover somewhere. I'm going to throw one at him, throw a second one at him. That just shows you how tough Legendary is, the fact that it takes 2 plasma grenades to kill that guy. That's absurd. It should only take 1. But anyway, that's the end of this room here. Only 2 elites to worry about. I'm just going to pick up any weapon I can get my hands on at this point. And you're going to see that in the next room, there are a fair amount of elites. And I'm just going to have to pick them off one by one with my DMR. So it's not necessarily easy, but here we go. So first, I'm going to start firing on the Grunts. There are about 3 or 4 Grunts in this area. So I'm just going to try to take all of them out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stay inside of this hallway. And the reason I'm doing this is because one of these elites is going to start rushing me with an energy sword. So I took him out right away. If I had ventured out into the room, he would have definitely killed me. So that's why I'm sticking back inside of this hallway. Now, a couple of the elites are going to have active camouflage. That actually works to our advantage because that means that their shields are weaker. So I picked up the sword. I'm never going to even use it, but I just like to pick it up sometimes because it's a cool weapon. But anyway, once again, like I said, I'm just going to stay inside of this hallway, and I'm going to look for the elites. And they should make themselves visible. So here we go. Finally, I spotted one, and I took him out, and that should draw some of his buddies over. Now, the reason you want to stay inside of this hallway is because if things get a bit overwhelming, you can just duck back, the doors will shut, and you can wait until your shields regenerate. Plus, too, the hallway provides some pretty good cover. So this is definitely the area you're going to want to stand in. Now, it might take a little bit of time, but again, that's just what comes with playing on Legendary. There are some sections where it just pays to be patient, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Now I'm going to start venturing out a little more. You can see this Grunt off in the distance. Take him out. There should be 1 more elite in the area, possibly 2, but there's going to be 1 really strong one. And so like I said, I picked up the energy sword, but I ended up not even using it because on Legendary, you just can't get close to them. You just can't get close enough to actually use it. So I'm going to switch for a plasma pistol, and boom goes the Dynamite. Alright, now, what you're going to want to do before you activate those controls, make sure you have the weapons you need. So I have a DMR and a plasma pistol, because as soon as you activate these controls, Covenant are going to come into the room from where we entered the room. So you're going to have to be careful. I'm going to jump inside of this holograph here for fun. But now you see the enemies are coming into the area, so I'm going to make use of grenades really quick, because anytime enemies enter from the same location, that means they're all kind of grouped together, so grenades can be very effective. And you'll see I actually took out like 3 or 4 of those guys with just 2 grenades. So now we just have to pick off the stragglers, a couple Grunts, and then for the elite, that's why I told you to pick up a plasma pistol. Alright, so it looks like all the Grunts should be out of the way. I saw a Jackal somewhere. Oh, nope, there's still 1 more Grunt. Alright, I saw a Jackal somewhere. I saw his blue shield glowing. There he is. And you see they're just going to run away. So I'm going to follow in pursuit And now that the controls have been activated, we're good to return to the hangar where George is waiting. And once we get there, we're going to have one final showdown, and then that will bring about the end of the level. What level is this? This is level 6. So that means we have 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 left to go. Chapter 11 is not really a chapter in its own right, so I'm going to treat it kind of like how I treated the first video of this walkthrough, because the first level of the game is just a cutscene. So I actually put levels 1 and 2 in the same video. I'm going to do the same thing with levels 10 and 11, because level 11 is not really a chapter. It's just kind of a closing to the game, I guess. Anyway, all of this should look familiar. We're just backtracking back to the hangar. There's going to be a couple enemies to worry about, and now you can see even more enemies are going to enter the area. So that's where, once again, the plasma pistol becomes very important. Use it to take down the elites. Use the DMR to take out the jackals and the grunts. Alright, one more guy. The jackals are just so annoying. I despise jackals. Their actual name is called the Kigyar. That's their species name, is the Kigyar. The grunts are called Ungoi. The elites are typically called Sangheli because they originate from a planet called Sangheli, or from a star system called Sanghelios. The prophets, which you actually haven't seen in this game, but the prophets are the Sanshayam. And then I always forget the name of the hunters. I always forget the species name of the hunters. The brutes, who you actually haven't seen yet either, but you're going to see the brutes in the next level. The brutes are called the Giral. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Giralne, or something like that. But these are all things you learn in the books. So these aren't typically mentioned in the games. You just know them as elites and jackals and grunts. But they actually do have like species names. Now, right there, I just backtracked because I was going to try to look for ammo, but the door ended up being locked, so that didn't work out quite the way I had intended. But anyway, now we are going to come to the main hangar where we started, and this is where we're going to have one final showdown. And this can be kind of tough, but the good news is, there are a lot of different waves of enemies. But the good news is you will get a checkpoint in between each wave. So at least you don't have to do this all in one go. Now I picked up a needler rifle, and there is plenty of ammo in this room here. So this is definitely the weapon to use right now. And I'm actually just going to kind of stay in this location. I'm not really going to venture out. And that's because the Covenant, each wave is going to come from a different spot. And George, you're going to want to pay attention to George, because this room is pretty big, and it can be hard to spot where the Covenant are. And so real quick, I'm going to run out here to the Pelican. I'm going to pick up my DMR. And if you need health, you can get some health while you're at it. And I'm also going to pick up a recharged plasma pistol. And now I'm going to go to work killing these elites. So the health I just picked up is pointless. I'm going to go have to get some more. But yeah, so you'll see that the game tells you, hey, there's ammunition over here. That's kind of your indicator that there's a ton of crap about to come your way. So you might want to stock up on health. I decided to get the drop, or the armor lock, just in case. Alright, but now we are ready to do this. So for the first couple waves, there's not a whole lot to worry about. It's really just going to be jackals and grunts. We've had plenty of practice up to this point, so I'm going to hunker down in a corner with my DMR and start going for headshots. And again, notice how I'm staying towards this end of the map. This is the end of the map that I came from, and kind of what I was saying earlier is pay attention to George. So I think a lot of times one of the most underrated strategies in any video game is paying attention to the AI. So the AI are typically not stupid. They will usually shoot at the enemies, and so if there's an enemy that you can't see and you don't know where that enemy is, well, things can get dangerous, because then you don't know where to look. But if you pay attention to George, so right now I see that George is kind of shooting off to the left over here. So that tells me that there's probably an enemy to the left, so that's where I'm going to start looking, and sure enough, there are enemies over there. Whereas if George hadn't been shooting over there, I might have ventured out, and those guys would have maybe flanked me because I didn't know where to look for them. So it's always helpful to pay attention to the AI and just kind of note are they shooting, and if so, which direction are they shooting in, and that will kind of tell you where you need to start looking. And you can see that sure enough there is an elite over there that George was shooting at, so I'm going to finish him off. That'll finish that wave, and next comes another wave. So I'm about to get a checkpoint. You'll see a cut in the video. And again, by paying attention to George, I see that this next wave of enemies is going to be approaching from that area over there. Now this part is a little tricky. There's going to be some elites that they're hard to get to. So they're going to be up here on kind of the second floor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch my plasma rifle or plasma pistol with a sniper rifle. And I'm going to use this bad boy to take out the guys. Now I said in an earlier video that you typically don't want to use sniper rifle rounds on grunts. In this case, it doesn't really matter. You have plenty of ammo. We're almost at the end of the level, so I'm not really worried about conserving any ammunition here. I'm just trying to go for easy kills, and that's why I picked up this weapon. So you see the elites up there, and there's another one on the other side, and that's what makes this part kind of hard, because you can't really get up to one without getting shot at by the other. So that's exactly why I picked up the sniper rifle here. I'm trying to get this guy, but he's giving me kind of a hassle. I think finally I'm about to get him. There we go. So I finally took him out. And now that there's only one elite left, our life becomes a lot easier. So again, like I said, I'm not worried about conserving ammo or anything, so I'm just going to use this weapon on the grunts as well. And now that there's only one elite left, I'm going to go back here, switch back to my plasma pistol, and take this final guy out. So he's going to be hiding behind this wall right here on the ramp. Should be hiding right behind the corner. Charge that baby up. Finish the job. And that should be the end. I'm pretty sure that's the end. I don't think there's any more enemies to deal with. And so guys, like I said, this level's going to end with a very important cutscene. Oh, never mind. There are some enemies left. So there is one more wave. I'm going to come back to this location, still have my plasma pistol and my DMR, and I'm going to do the same exact thing I've been doing, kicking ass and taking names. And again, just kind of let the enemies come to you. Don't worry about going far out and killing them, just let them come to you. Now I'm going to start shooting some of these guys from far away, try to lure them over here. And there goes one more. His buddy came over here as well, so his buddy's over there messing with George. I'm going to help George out. And now we are pretty close to the end, so finish off any remaining stragglers. And make sure you watch that final cutscene because it is very important, and it's a really cool and sad cutscene. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. Hope you're enjoying the walkthrough, and I will see you in the next mission.
There's no way back up to the Sabres. Noble 6, form up on me.
Distance is closing on this vessel's refueling track with the Covenant supercarrier. 76 seconds to endpoint.
So, it's gonna be like that. Well, I got good news and bad news. This bird took some fire and her thruster gimbal is toast, which means the only way off this slag heap is gravity.
And the good news?
That was the good news.
At current velocity, 53 seconds to endpoint.
Yeah. Bad news is, time is fried. I'm gonna have to fire it manually.
That's a one-way trip.
We all make it sooner or later. Better get going, 6. They're gonna need you down there. Listen, Reach has been good to me. Time has come to return the favor. Don't deny me this. Tell him to make it count.
Slip space rupture detected.
Gamma station control, reading multiple pings below the orbital defense
Slip
grid.
space rupture detected.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading
Slip
it?
space rupture
Multiple
detected.
covenant signatures.
Slip space
Is anyone
rupture
listening?
detected.
They're everywhere!
Slip space rupture detected.
The whole damn covenant,
Slip
please.
space rupture detected.